Nodevember 2020, third day, fruit. So today I made an apple, and I spent so much time on it that we cannot go into detail about the node tree today. But I'll try to explain a few things. So I've selected a few points which I want to touch on. So yeah, let's jump right into it. So the Voronoi texture, that's the first thing I want to talk about, because I love the Voronoi texture. I use it everywhere, and actually in this whole apple, I only used Voronoi textures. That's the only texture that I used for everything, for the bumps, for all the textures here, for the colors, for this, and okay, actually there's a wave texture, but I wouldn't need to use a wave texture there. I could do that with other nodes, but that's not the point. The main point is I didn't use a noise texture. So I think the noise texture is actually way too overused. I mean, it's really simple with the noise texture to get the details, right? Because there is this detail slider here, this one, and it will make detail very quick by basically internally duplicating this node with different scales and adding them up. And roughness controls how they add up. But that doesn't change anything about the base noise, right? It's very continuous, and it's just this continuous noise, right? But most things in reality are actually not that continuous. So most things in reality are more like the Voronoi texture, which basically has cells, right? So in reality, a lot of things are made up of cells or little spheres, like atoms, right? Or just droplets or whatever. Surround, that kind of stuff. So that's everything what's possible with the Voronoi texture. You can do spheres, as you can see here. So I can zoom in a little bit. You can see these little dots here. They're made with the Voronoi texture. That's actually very, very simple to get this random dots. Wait a second. So that's here. These two nodes. It's just a Voronoi texture and a distance with a color, and then a greater than. That's it. So that gives us this beautiful texture. And then these stripes, obviously, that's just the Voronoi cells, colored depending on their position, selected. And you can do all sorts of stuff with Voronoi. So, for example, yesterday, we used the Voronoi for local coordinates of the particles, which is also very interesting. And I actually used Voronoi as well in some other node setups to create hexagonal tilings, and it worked really well there as well. So there's a lot you can do with the Voronoi texture. I think it's often overlooked. Actually, also, here's an example of layering two Voronoi textures, and that can actually look quite good, as you can see here. So these are the points where this Voronoi texture is dark, and then there's this Voronoi texture. You can see where that is dark, right? And that is actually making the bumps here, which looks like this, because the Voronoi texture has this dark spots in the middle and then lighter on the edges. And that's very interesting for bump maps, because it can make very, very flat faces. So, very interesting. Very interesting. Oh, it's a wireframe. Can delete that. Don't need that anymore. Yeah, so that was the first thing. So the second thing I want to touch on is this technique to use curves for all the shape defining things. And yeah, as you can see, there is just a lot of curves and they make this beautiful leaf. The shape of it. They define the shape. And also in other places, like the stem is also controlled by a curve, this thickness. And I think that's it here, yes. But in other cases I just use the color ramp because that's basically the same as a curve for the one-dimensional case, but you can do a little bit more in my opinion. So for example here I used it to section off the 3 parts. So I used blue, red and green for the color channels, and that's then the mix factors here. So you can separate them out and mix together things and use that in a lot of places here. Yeah, and that's not duplicated, that's just the values here are a little bit different, just a little tiny bit. Okay, yeah, that's actually all I wanted to say today. So enjoy creating more nodes the upcoming days.